These are the plaintiffs, Kevin and Joelle Coughlin. Kevin says they hired the defendant to expedite some construction they needed to do for an ailing relative, and the crook just basically took off with their money. He didn't work, he ghosted them, and then blamed Governor Cuomo of New York and COVID. Well, he works for Governor Cuomo of New York. He knows the laws inside and out, and they're suing for the return of their $4,000. This is the defendant, Patrick Rogers, of Fast Forward Permits. He says he can understand the plaintiff's frustration with things, but they need to give him a break. There's a pandemic going on, you know? He's sorry things haven't gone quickly for the plaintiffs, but everyone's doing the best they can under the circumstances, and all the work will get done eventually. Owe them a refund? No way. He's accused of dragging his feet.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiffs hired the defendant to expedite paperwork for an addition to the house they were building, but the guy did squat. Now, the defendant says, give me a break, it's a pandemic and things are moving slowly. It's the case of expedite schmespedite.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Mr. and Mrs. Coughlin, tell me your tale of woe.
Hello, Judge. So, my father-in-law, last holidays, he spent with us. He had a heart attack when he was staying with us. And my wife and I, we made the decision that we were going to add a room onto our house to move him in with us, a bedroom and a bathroom. We reached out to a reputable contractor, and he suggested Patrick to us as an architect. He's an expediter. He came highly recommended. He knows all the building departments in the area. He's an expediter. So we were assured that he would get the job done very quickly.
Mr. Rogers, what exactly is your trade? What is your profession?
I'm an expediter, Your Honor. Expediters, fast forward permits. We expedite permits through the building departments in Nassau and Suffolk County. That is the title. That is what I am. I did not hold myself out as an architect, and I do.
Who does the drawings? You do the drawings?
I do, yes.
I'm not a sir.
I know.
You do the drawings?
Yes, I have I have a software program. It's called SoftPlan, architectural plans. And I do the drawings, and an architect, if I show them the drawings, they need to approve them and put their stamp on it. Okay,
so there'll be an architect's stamp on it. And according to you, you never held yourself out to be an architect to them. You didn't think he was an architect, but you were hiring him in order to get your plans through quickly. And what happens? You write him a check. He tells you he can get you the drawings and get your permits for what, $6,000?
For $6,000. He asked for 2/3 up front, $4,000. So we wrote him a check on February 1st. $4,000.
Okay, but why would you give him 2/3 up front? You never want to give so much up front to anyone.
That's a great question, Judge, and we debated back and forth. But since this was an expedited, this was something that we really wanted to get moving on it. My wife and I, we discussed it. We were sure that he could get the job done, so we wanted to get the wheels rolling, so to speak. So we wrote him the check for $4,000.
Okay, and then what happens? You write the check on February 1st, and what happens?
Patrick came over to our house along with the contractor on February 12th. He took some measurements and said he was going to draw some initial plans, which he did. We had some questions. He came back on March 5th, took some more measurements, and he said he was going to have the plans ready for us the following Thursday, March 12th. March 12th came and went, and we didn't hear from Patrick until April 8th at that point. There were no phone calls, no emails. We tried to reach out to him. We called him. We texted him. We emailed him. We even reached out to the contractor and asked if he had heard from Patrick. We thought he might have actually been in the hospital. But he reemerged on April 8th, sent us an email saying that due to the shutdown, he wasn't able to get into his office to do any work. And I questioned him on that, and being that he basically...
And you questioned him on that because why?
Well, Your Honor, I work for the state of New York. I'm actually assigned to the governor's office. I'm a photographer for the state of New York. I cover a lot of Governor Cuomo's press conferences, which I'm sure you and the rest of the country saw, these daily COVID-19 press conferences. The governor actually put his stop work order for construction on March 26th, and he was supposed to have these plans ready by March 13th. And we didn't hear anything. And we also deemed that this was possibly essential construction because this is for the care of my father-in-law. He's in failing health, and we thought this would qualify under essential construction. But regardless,
and more than that, what I really don't get, Mr. Rogers, is your job is to get these plans together through a software. Why is it that you would not be able to do this in a timely fashion? The whole reason people hired you is because you were supposed to fast forward this, as it were. And of all the people that should be able to work from home with the software, it should be you. So I'm not getting it. Why is it you didn't have this stuff? And you were supposed to have it before COVID even shut things down. So please explain what the delay is.
I would submit that it was March 12th. And in New York, that's when everything was shut down. And March 12th is the date that the president at that time, that's when COVID hit. That's when NBA.
The president has no authority to shut anything down. He can just set a tone. It's the governor who shuts it down. But in any event, why are you shut down?
Because
I mean, it's not like the governor said, "Don't lift a finger."
I made the decision not to go to my office and not to expose anyone in my family to the likelihood we could get COVID.
Who else would have been in your office?
Other people that were working. There were tax accountants that were working through tax season. And that was the
So you'd share space.
Yes.
All right, and why couldn't you just log on from your home computer?
I made the decision not to do that. I'm not saying that I couldn't, but
your home computer. Where are you right now?
I'm in my office, Your Honor.
Which office? Your business office or a home office?
I'm in the business office now.
Okay. All right. So you did do some plans. When do you finally hand him some plans?
It was in May. Sometime in May.
All right. Now, when you hand it to him, that's supposed for him to be able to use them, and for you to be able to use them, they need to be signed off on by the architect, right?
That's correct, and they were not. The architect would not sign off.
Okay. Why wouldn't the architect sign off on them?
He wanted more detail.
Okay. So now, when is it you finally say, "Give me back my $4,000"?
Judge, we actually we smelled a rat after a while. We looked up Patrick's website. We found out that it had disappeared. It's no longer online, or it wasn't at the time. We didn't hear from him for a long time. And when he discovered that I worked for the governor, he said, "Oh, is there any way you could get me an extra week of unemployment?" And I said, "Extra?" And he said, "Oh, I'll get right on this." I believe that he shut down his business on purpose so he could collect unemployment, intentionally not work, get free money, and then put us, who's already put $4,000 out, and just think that we could just sit around and wallow. Judge, we couldn't wait. This went on 4 months. So we gave him a deadline of Friday, April 24th. He calls us on the 24th. He says, "Listen, I really need to plow through this on the weekend." We reluctantly give him a third chance. 5 p.m. on that following Tuesday, I'm typing an email to fire him. But he sent us these plans, and we looked at the plans. They were missing a staircase. We live in a house that's in a flood zone, so the house needs to be elevated. It needs a staircase to get up to the extra bedroom from the rear of the house. That's missing. So we finally called the architect of record who was on the application, and we asked him what's going on. And he said there's no way in the world he would put his seal on it. So I sent him an email, and as well as a certified letter of dismissal demanding our $4,000 back.
And you demanded the money back June 5th. June 5th. Right. You'd paid him February 1st. 4 months had passed, and you didn't even have step 1 of permitting. Mr. Rogers, explain to me why it is that they are not correct when you took their money and they have nothing they can use, and you've put them 4 months behind schedule. Where's Dad right now?
He's still upstate. He lives upstate. He is moving in.
So you've put them 4 months behind schedule. Explain to me why you should be able to keep the money.
Well, because I did the work, Your Honor, and irrespective.
What work? Even your own architect who has to stamp it said it was insufficient.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Will the judge pan the defendant's pandemic argument? Let's go back into the courtroom and find out.
You know that people hire you so that you can get them a permit faster than their contractor can. You have them pay you 2/3 up front, and you do nothing that they can use and delay them 4 months and then tell me COVID. Okay, COVID, but then why would you keep their money?
As I said, the work was done. We were working. It didn't come out. It didn't turn out the way they wanted. It didn't work out, and it's unfortunate. But I did do some of the work that they wanted done.
You did nothing, and you did it bad. You did it poorly, and you did it late, and it's useless to them. There is no value to the drawings that you made that can't get approved. Return the money. People have problems. I get it. People have problems during COVID. I get it. You get to have problems. You don't get to have problems and keep their money. That's the part you don't get to have. $4,000 verdict for the plaintiffs.
Well, the defendant gets a stern rebuke from the judge, and the Coughlins win the lawsuit, $4,000. Let's talk to Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers, what do you think of what the judge just had to say to you?
I wish the plaintiffs no ill will. It didn't work out, and the circumstances are unfortunate. I did make attempts to get the work done. It didn't work out, and I hope Joel's father is doing well, and I wish them the best.
All right, sir. Well, listen, sorry about that, but that's the judge's decision. You got to give that $4,000 back. Let's talk to the Coughlins. Mr. and Ms. Coughlin, I would assume you feel much better now, don't you?
Yes.
This has been a long time coming, but we did do our search after. If he had just done the work on time and did his job properly, we wouldn't be here right now. But we're very happy with the outcome.
So is it all finished now? The room finished? I know your dad's not there yet, but is the room done, or where are you in it?
They're painting right now as we speak.
Congratulations. Okay, time now for another session of After the Verdict. Here are the judges.
The plaintiffs in this case, Mr. and Mrs. Coughlin, they had the patience of Job. They waited a long time.
Can you imagine hiring somebody that says their name is fast-paced permitting and 4 months pass without drawings?
Fast. And let's face it, the guy wasn't supposed to draw designs to build the Brooklyn Bridge. This was a bedroom and a bathroom addition on the house.
Right.
He's got the software, bing, bang, boom. Presumably he could have put it together.
He just didn't do it. That's it. Which, for whatever reason he didn't do it, he was worried about COVID, fine, just give the money back.
Of course.
You don't get to do both.
And here's another lesson you can take away from a case like this. Don't pay 2/3 up front, for God's sake. Maybe 1/3 would be more appropriate.
A third, and a third.
Right, when it's weighted that far forward in favor of one party, you just might get screwed in the end.
Right, and the worst is a half and a half, that's fine.
Right.
That's as much as you should ever give. Right. When I say the worst, that
because
should be
then
the
both
top.
sides have incentive to hang in there and get this stuff done.
You pay 2/3 of something, you're never, it's a terrible idea.
That might be enough already to make it worthwhile for the other party to just walk.
Right.
So Gene wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, what can I do about a concert that never took place and the ticket company won't give me a refund? This is a huge problem right now with the pandemic. And a lot does depend on the contract. My feeling about it is this, that there are contracts that say that they can move the date, and if that's the case, you're probably stuck. But if it's silent about that and the concert doesn't go on, you're entitled to your money back. And you could sue to try to get it back, realizing there are a lot of people struggling and the business you're suing may not have the money to pay. And that will do it for this case. Litigants are inside the courtroom for the next case.